Oh, there's people posting questions on YouTube?
No, I'm just posting today.
Ah, okay. Because I'm telling them to actually post here, possibly, whether that's going to work or not. Oh, there's Christine. Nope, that's not that one. There, it's going to be underneath, right where that video thing was. Thank you much. Do you want to?
Michelob Ultra.
Why don't you go get yours and I'll go fiddle with this a second. Because otherwise, you're not going to be able to go get one. So I want you to get one.
Care.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. 2 shares. You are here. Be sure to comment. Oh. Oh, I see. Amy said hello on the chat things. Okay, so we are getting chat. I don't know how this is working. This is discombobulated. We are.
Thank you.
Okay, now if you guys are uptight, I'm gonna tell you this not to change your
If you can't stand a burp or fart, you better move on.
Okay, we're just talking about how to sell yourself on Etsy. Just say it with us.
This sounds like my.
Move on, sister.
So you're developing your tribe, your brand. Okay.
Somebody's got
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey. I've had you in class, so I understand. Both trouble 1 and trouble 2, right next to you.
We had the shirts that said they say we're trouble, but we're really just getting groovy as a getaway. That was us.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous.
I made one of those shirts today. That was like a
Did you make it upside down?
No, I didn't get the option.
She made yours upside down. I made mine
It's
upside
sideways.
down. And hers is perfect.
and you're, I'm not dyslexic, but they made me feel bad.
Yo, it's a statement, all right.
So it's not tracking me. It's just doing a live. It's just where am I supposed to be standing for it to the cameras, for them to actually catch my.
Well, I mean, this one's pretty wide, and that's the one that we have up.
Okay.
I think the signal is dropping or something. I noticed our Wi-Fi only had like 1 bar, so because of.
I bet. Okay. Okay. You're driving, huh?
No, I didn't get in till late. So, dang it. I drink enough with you at night.
No.
Uh-oh.
Like something different.
You've never had one?
Uh-uh.
Oh, they're my favorite.
It's really good.
It is really good, and it's kind of local. That's where. It opens at 7. Where our presentations, as soon as everyone sort of comes in, I do see that people were posting.
Yeah, he came over and did something, and now I need to
What?
move this so I can get to my slide bar so I can
Oh.
scroll down. I don't see any posts.
There were some there where the comments were. No?
0 comments.
There were comments before though.
I don't know if they were for this post or not.
Oh, this one doesn't have a touch screen, so what's that? Anything underneath here? Just mine right there, so. Oh, but there's just 2 comments. Click on 2 comments there. What, one more? And change it from most relevant to all comments.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. It says there's two, but I only see one. So, not sure. Well, I'm not sure if we're going to actually see, if anyone else will see this live. I saw comments in here before, though.
I did too, but I don't know if they were for this post because I somehow got something about Longmire up there, and I don't know how that happened. I just scrolled down and all of a sudden I scrolled back up, and there was something else there, not after hours.
Okay. Well, I see he's. Where is he? Oh, are we that lagging? Because, I mean. I'm not sure.
I sure want to show little girl making here, and she goes, "Is that wine glass?"
Wine glass?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Lisa doesn't think it does either.
No.
Let's take a vote in the room.
You thought, how much have you had?
So we're cutting her off now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
We're
you.
getting ahead of the curve.
She's done.
Those things that they have drink red.
I did.
I have no idea.
Lisa Shaw.
Somebody.
No, this is mine. I digitized this. It's just a one something I did.
Okay, I mean, I did see it, seriously.
Oh,
That's it, and it looks just like that.
wow. This is probably about 5 or 6 years old. So theirs wasn't new. If it's theirs is new, it's not.
So, put that on the wine glass, make your little tutu on the stem. Kelly, I just gave you a great idea. Think outside the box. Like way outside the wine box. Way outside the wine box.
What?
I don't have after hours with Lisa showing there anymore.
Put your mouse cursor up here at the top. Try clicking on this link again.
There's no link there.
Or if you just click on play, usually if you click, you're not active in the screen. So click on the screen. Click on it again. Oh, it's going to switch over.
Click play.
Yeah. Is that old? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to ask him if he's just going to record this, and then I'm just going to upload it. I don't think there's anything going to go to. I don't think it's live streaming. Okay, ours is not coming through anything. The Facebook one. This is what happened to the one on YouTube.
Yeah, and I wasn't even touching anything.
It just went over to this. So we're not sure what's here. So if we're recording it on your thing, I'll just upload it afterwards, or we can just upload it to my page or something.
We will get it figured out, but it should be. I mean,
We got to hit the back button here so we get back to Facebook where we were.
Back
Or is this?
button.
Let me double check something real quick.
This is the refresh button.
Yeah, but we went to YouTube, so we want to go back to.
Okay, but I don't see your back button.
Okay, you got to move that thingy. Keep going. Is there a back button right there? Does that put it back at Facebook?
Let me see something. Because you're coming through strong and clean on mine. Like, it's coming through beautifully clean. Let me see something. That's what we're doing right now. We're good.
Okay.
Lisa, I apologize. We're good.
We're good?
100%.
Excellent. That's exciting. And it's on YouTube?
Yeah.
Fabulous.
I do these too. I take like leather jackets and stuff. Details.
So what do you want the order of operations with this to be?
You want to do it at the end or before? You want to do one? I mean, let's wait for everybody to get in.
Okay.
And then if you
I'm
want
just
to
I don't know
start.
I don't know what's going on. So as far as because as far as I don't know
Right.
anything.
It's
So
your
in the
show,
beginning?
let's do however. Yeah, I can draw one in the beginning.
Okay.
And
Well,
then-
we can do the 5 of these here, and then we can do this one at the end.
Oh yeah,
Okay, that would work.
sure. So 5 before you start, and nothing during. You want me up here hooting and hollering while you're on the.
No, we don't need a break in the
This is a
middle.
good crowd to start with.
Yeah.
For our first time doing this, like,
Exactly.
ask for too much.
Yes.
And we get what we.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I was gonna kill myself in my flip-flops. I was setting up tables beforehand, and so.
I don't blame you. I take mine off.
Well, don't you all sew barefoot?
Yeah.
I mean,
I hardly ever have.
exactly. It's like the law. We're ready to go? All right, guys. Are you guys ready? Whoa. It's always the quiet ones. Oh, welcome everyone to the first After Hours live here at the Applique Getaway in Texas. I mean, how exciting is this to be together, to be with your tribe again after how long? I mean, long time. And we're all together talking about machine embroidery, taking wonderful classes, and tonight you're all here to join me with your beverage of choice that's going to help us get through tonight in spite of all technical difficulties. Cheers. Thank you, all of you, for attending. So, to get things started on a happy note, I'm happy always anyway, but I've got some door prizes here. Okay. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much, since it's being recorded, for Schmetz Needles is sponsoring me to teach this about, I'm not official Schmetz Needles. I'm officially a Brilliance, not Schmetz Needles, but they did sponsor this event, as well as Kai Scissors. So Kai Scissors so generously donated, and we'll draw this one at the end, but this is their GS9 gift set. This is the high carbon stainless steel scissors. These are the ones that slice through butter like a hot knife. Okay, it's about $150 value. You get a nice dressmaker shear, a wonderful scissors to cut through that marine vinyl to make your key fobs, and a nice detailed pair of scissors, the little tiny ones that cut all the way to the point. So we'll hold these for last. However, do you all have your tickets? Okay, because hold your horses, guys. You have some official after-hours drinking mugs with some thread from Mettler that's in here, and a Brilliance USB drive. Okay. This is more better than the scissors, right? No. It doesn't. No. Can't hurt to ask, right? Okay. So am I drawing the tickets?
Oh, we're ready.
You're ready? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, God, I should have brought my reading glasses here. 097 6570. Woohoo! Oh. Okay, the next one, I guess it's the last 4 digits, is 6, 4, oh my God, 6, 6.
Wait, let me check mine.
No,
I'm 1 digit off.
6, 4, 6, 6. Look. All right. Really? Already there's
Extras in there, so just toss it.
Okay, I got it in my hand here. Okay. Whoopsie. 6, 4, 5, 9.
Yeah, let's shake them.
5, 9. Woo! Oh my God. 6, 5, 3, 6. 6, 5, 3, 6. Impatience. Okay, 6, 5, 2, 5. Okay. 6, 4, 5, 0. We're cutting her off. 6, 5, 3, 8. Okay, where is my needle? All right. Well, okay, and we're good. We're good. All right, we're gonna talk about needles now. Okay? I know. This is dangerous stuff. Now, with machine, this is an actual super needle. This is an actual needle that's used to sew, not for an embroidery machine. It's used to, no. But it is a good demonstration device because it's easy to see why, how needles are actually used, what the different components are, and why they are so important to our embroidery machines. One of the first things I always check whenever there's something oopsie going on at the machine is I switch out a needle. Okay? Needles have a few different components. For example, if you look at this, even through the top here, you can see that the very top is rounded. Okay? That's because you have to make sure and you be able to see that that little smooth round point is actually inserted correctly into the needle holder of your embroidery machine. And it needs to go all the way to the top. Sometimes you get a little lazy and you put it in and you don't screw it all the way into the top and it falls through, it breaks off, it does bad things. That's not a good thing. So make sure that whenever you insert your needle all the way to the top, some machines have an actual little viewing hole that you can see where that little round point blocks off the light and you can see that it goes through. All of our home machines, the flatbed embroidery machines, they have a flat shank on the needle. That makes it, you can only put it in one direction. Now, commercial machines, and some of you have true commercial machines, you have round shank needles. Those you need to use special gizmos to make sure that you put them in so that the eye is always facing in the right direction. Because if you put it in sideways, those of us with the home machines, we don't have to worry about that because we have a flat shank on our needle. Now, all needles have a specific job. And I'll tell you that I use a machine embroidery Schmetz 7511 99% of the time in my machine. 7511 is the most common size for machine embroidery. It was what most of our machines were calibrated for. If your machine is specifically calibrated for a different size needle, for example, I have a Viking machine at home, and its favorite needle is a 9014. What? Did I hear that? What? I know, and it misbehaves if I decide to put a 7511 in that it doesn't like. So you have to make sure that you're using the right size of a needle. And what does this size refer to but the actual width of this needle shank? Now, we're used to using 40 weight thread, and with 40 weight thread, we know the smaller the number, the thicker the thread. So when you're using your machine embroidery thread is 40. If you want to use thicker thread, you use a size 30 or a size 28 or a 12. Well, unfortunately, the needle guys and the thread guys didn't have a conversation when they decided to make numbers, because it's the exact opposite. So when I have a 7511 needle and I go to a 90 needle, that's actually a larger shank that's going to make a bigger hole in my thread. So you'd think that they would have talked about this before since needles and threads are kind of coordinated, you'd think they would have had this conversation. However, they didn't. I think you probably were the same guys that put numbers on my street. And you laugh. I live on Elbert Road. It's the only paved road in Elbert, okay? It goes between El Paso County and Elbert County. The numbers increase from El Paso County, so we're going higher numbers, and the even numbers are on the left side of the road and the odd numbers on the right side of the road, until you get to Elbert County line. Then the numbers start decreasing, and the odd numbers are on the left side of the road and the even numbers on the other side of the road. No one ever finds my house. Never have to worry about someone just dropping by, because you put in Google Maps and they have no idea how to get there. So I think those guys were talking to the thread and the needle guys when that whole decision-making process was made. So the next part of the needle that's very important is on this rounded side, there's actually a groove in this needle, and it, depending on the type of needle you have, is dependent upon the groove. It may have one, it may not have one, it may be deeper, and that groove is actually a guide for the thread so that it doesn't do this whippy-lashy thing coming down and cause knots and snarls. Machine embroidery needles were made very specific for high-speed machines. We're not sewing along at 55 miles an hour when we're doing machine embroidery. We're going at minimum of 350, because that's slow, and we bump up to 1,000, 1,500 stitches per minute. So these needles will have a groove in them to hold that thread in place so that the thread comes down and goes through the needle eye without getting lost. It's almost like a tracking system on here. So an embroidery needle has that guide, because not only are we stitching really fast, but we are stitching in, the hoop is moving. And when hoops move, thread moves. So that guide helps it keep intact. So when you're looking for needles for your embroidery machine, you really need to stick with embroidery needles, because they were designed more for embroidery than anything else. Another important key point of an embroidery needle is the size of the eye. Okay, a standard embroidery needle has, when you're doing quilting, will have a really small eye because you're doing specific logical piecing. That needle just, the eye is smaller, you're going in a straight line forever and ever and ever, and it doesn't matter. It's most important to keep that thread in control. For embroidery machines, because the thread is coming from the top of the spool down through the take-up lever and up back through here, down into that needle and around the bobbin case and back and forth at 1,000 stitches per minute, it has to have a larger eye just by definition. Okay, it just has to happen. It also has polishing around that eye because that thread is going in all sorts of directions and you don't want shredding. Do we ever have shredding at our machines sometimes? I know. Sometimes it happens because your needle is wearing out. Okay, and you say, well, how long does a needle last? Well, it lasts as long as I've had bum ones right out of the package. Okay? And so it happens. And thread is coarse, especially if you're using a variety of colors of threads and thicknesses of threads and types of designs. That thread, I saw there was a video on YouTube where they took a white spool of thread and they put a black dot on it. And they ran it through the machine in slow motion. And that black dot actually went in and out of the needle 15 times before it actually made a stitch in the fabric. So if you think about it, it's going back and forth, just like a saw. And if you're using rougher thread, and polyester thread is pretty rough. I mean, that's a fibrous thread that's strong. I use silk thread and it runs through my Microtex needles like this because silk thread that's super thread. They used to make parachutes out of silk. So there's a lot of wear and tear. So when your needle starts shredding thread, the first thing that I do is I change out my needle just to say, hey, there's something funky going on with my thing. Now, the other thing that an embroidery needle has the elongated eye with the curved area so that the thread can go back and forth through it. It also has a slightly ball point on the bottom. Okay? So when we talk to people or someone says, hey, you need to use a ball point embroidery needle, most of the home machine needles that are embroidery already have a slightly rounded point on it. So if you want, when you stitch on a knit, they tell you to use a ballpoint needle. Otherwise, that's your point is actually perforating the fibers and that elastic, and it just makes holes, and it's not a good thing. So when someone says, hey, use a ballpoint needle, that may mean you may get good results. Why not try it out? But if it's not an embroidery needle, the eye may be different. So what do? Slow your machine down. So I use a jersey needle when I'm working on those really soft onesies. You know the ones I'm talking about? They're like really cuddly soft, and they seem to show the perforation holes when you're doing appliques. So what I will change to a jersey or a stretch needle, which has a super round point on it, but I'll slow my machine down because I know that the eye of the needle is different than the machine embroidery needle. And when you change needles like that, slowing the machine down will really help. Okay? If I'm getting a lot of thread tangles, and I mean I'm working with, say, springy rayon thread or metallic thread. That's, when it comes off the spool, I said metallic thread and I heard a couple, You guys all love metallic thread, don't we? Yeah. I was talking about metallic. What's that?
It just doesn't love us.
No, it doesn't love us very much at all. I have 4 favorite metallic threads. The 2 that I use that have polyester core, which will be more springy, but you can also put them through the wash a lot easier, are King Star If you guys are familiar with that brand, you like Kingstar thread? It does run very well, and you don't have to do much finicky stuff with it at all, okay? Superior thread also has a very nice metallic that works, but it's more, people aren't familiar with Superior thread because they're more quilting products. But it's very similar to the Kingstar. But the only issue I have with the Kingstar thread is that it's polyester. And I like to work a lot on silk and soft fabrics, so I prefer my metallic thread to have a rayon core. Now that means I can't bleach it, because if you bleach rayon, we all know that's not a good thing. So threads that have a rayon core, my two favorites are Wonderfill. They have one, that's wonderful with an I, so it's Wonderfill, and it has a rayon core in their metallic thread. And the other one is called Soft Light, and Lindy G Embroidery carries it. It's a product out of Australia, but she carries it here in the United States. My only issue with the Soft Light is that it comes in these gargantuan spools. So if you're not doing a lot of embroidery with rayon metallic thread, you got a gargantuan spool, and what do you do with that? So I prefer smaller metallics because I don't stitch, I'm glitzy, but I don't do that much. So when I'm doing, my needle choice for my metallic threads is my embroidery needle, because I don't seem to have any problems running my metallic threads through. You don't either? And you're using Kingstar? You do a mono, so you're just using a regular 7511 and not a problem.
It's the only, and I've used for years, I've embroidered with metallic thread, and I have struggled until someone told me about this
Kingstar?
Kingstar thread, and since I bought it, I have absolutely, I can walk away from my machine, go do what I want to do, and come back.
Wow. How many of you abandoned your machines? Yay! I love watching our machine stitch. Don't get me wrong, I think it's absolutely fascinating. It's actually rhythmic. It's healing, I think, because to watch those stitches being formed on fabric, oh, but then I got Oscar. And if you guys follow me, you guys know Oscar, right? The famous Oscar. Well, Oscar is at Megan's house for Oscar camp. so my husband hasn't quite figured out how to deal with Oscar and Daisy at the same time yet. There's still a little stressful situation going on. Oh no, Oscar. No, it's Oscar's a dog. And Oscar's my COVID puppy. Okay. We went to go get a blue heeler cattle dog mix. And it was a rescue puppy. That's what we were told he was, and he was so darn stinking cute. And we went to get Oscar, and Oscar's growing up, and I said, he's no cattle dog, because I've raised cattle dogs. I've had blue heelers, and they're smart as a whip, and he's not. Well, no, he's not dumb. He's just stubborn. So we had his DNA tested. Okay, so I said, there's something wrong with me. I've never had to go to dog training classes. I went to puppy kindergarten with every puppy that I had to socialize them, and then we taught them everything else, how to sit, how to stay, how to do whatever. Oscar, my God, we went through puppy kindergarten. We went through puppy day school. We went through polite manners. I'm still in school with Oscar. So, wait, I shouldn't say. He's catching on. He's really a very smart dog. Oh, he is, the top 4 breeds is American Pit Bull, Boxer, Rottweiler, and Bichon Frise. I'm like, what? Yes? A bitchy frizzy. Yeah, well, I don't know. He's a lovely dog. He is adorable.
Just like we tell my daughter, it's a good thing you're pretty.
Yes, I keep telling him. I said, Oscar, you're driving mommy nuts. Come on. So he goes and stays with Megan, who he adores, and that's fine. But it's just taken a lot of energy out of my life dealing with Oscar. So I know. And he's probably at home. I should have put the photos up because I'm like one of those grandmas. I also have 4 grandchildren too, so I usually am one of them. Oh, do you want to see my puppy? But she's been sending me photos of him playing with the little, the dog, and he lost a few fights today. Well, he's got this little buddy of his is jumping and playing, and Oscar's got like 5 left feet. He's completely uncoordinated. So anyway, I don't know, how did I get on Oscar talking about needles? I don't know. Baby's in the machine. Wow, you're keeping me on track. Keeping me on track. God. Oh, yes. Okay, well, those of us that, is there anyone that has trouble with metallic needles and would like some tips on how to get them to work, metallic threads in your machine? Because I have now figured out that after talking to various people that have figured out how to get other threads to work at the machine, there really is a recipe of things that you can try to make those finicky threads work better. The first thing is to make sure try using a larger eye needle. Larger eye would be something like a top stitch needle or a metallic needle, because those have a larger eye. And remember what I said, what you do when you are using a needle that's not an embroidery needle? Slow your machine down. So those are the 2 number 1 things to do. Yes? Yeah, if you're using Kingstar thread, you wouldn't have to do that.
I just got a Madeira metallic order in,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if I'm going to have to switch to the needle or if it'll work with the 75 thread.
Jane? See, this is why going to a conference is wonderful, because yes, the question, teacher doesn't know the answer. We got Cindy here, we got Jane here. They're my 2 commercial girls. They do the embroidery. Now they're also in the women in business garment. Women in garment decoration group, and that is a fantastic resource that all of us here should be, all of us females. Sorry, I see there's a gentleman here. Right. So basically instant approvals here going on. Yes?
Right now, I can't remember who. I think I used the embroidery store for the Kingstar thread.
Yes?
Is that who you order from? Somebody was asking. I can't remember now.
I think it is Embroidery Store that I got it from. Yeah. Yes. All Stitch carries it also? Yeah. Women in garment decoration. Yep. Oh, for local people, Stitch House carries it. Plano, oh, all right. All these local people get lots of resources.
If you want it, you better order it now because closer to the holiday time, they're sold out. Especially Christmas. Stitch House only ran out of one color over the holiday. And it was so right to the holiday. You can still get them one color in the school bowl.
Fabulous. Okay, so if you have other threads that you are home and you're still trying to make them work, another thing that you can use is on your sewing machine is Sewer's Aid. What this is a liquid silicone. It's a Band-Aid, right. Now, using silicone on your thread is not a horrible thing because you're supposed to bring your machines in to keep them clean and get them maintained. You can put covers over them so that there's not dust. You're not putting a gallon of this silicone on it. You're just doing a little bit of silicone on the sewer's aid on the spool. That will help just keep it a little more relaxed to let it go through. I have this gizmo, and I think I saw it at Gail's Nest in her booth. She had the single ones left. It's called a thread director, and this is only for a single needle flatbed. And what it does is it's an attachment that goes on top of the bobbin winder that's on your sewing machine. And what it allows you to do is put that metallic thread so that it feeds right into the tension discs. So there's no chance for it to go and become wild anywhere. It just comes right off the spool into the tension discs and goes through your machine, which is now going slow because you've slowed it down already, and it stitches and gets calm. I had a bunch of thread that I won't name the brand of, but I never used because it always was nasty for me, and now I can use it. So it no longer is in the drawer of evil threads. It is now able to be used on my machine. Oh, we all have a drawer or a box of evil thread, don't we? Yeah. You know, it's the one that's temperamental, the stuff that we just don't use it anymore. The thread.
You don't get rid of it.
Okay. Yes? Another use for the thread director? Whoops.
When you need to use a 60-weight thread, you don't want to buy a whole comb. I buy an assortment of bobbins, 60-weight bobbins.
Yes.
And I put that bobbin up there, and I just wind off the bobbin.
Oh, that'd be for those of you that are watching the replay. I'll reword what you just said, Ramona. Wonderful suggestion. If you are looking for 60-weight thread and you don't want to buy a large spool of it, you can buy bobbins of 60-weight thread because that's what is normally colors that are available. And if you have that thread director, it's going to hold it. It's a mini spool and it goes right on the thread director and it comes right off. So you don't have to do a lot of investment. Now, bobbin thread is a polyester thread, and it's wonderful for small lettering when you're using 60-weight, 80-weight, or 100-weight thread. One of my favorite, reminds me of my favorite thread to use for micro lettering. It's called Invisifil, and it's by Wonderfil thread, and it's 100-weight, and they have all their colors that are 40-weight, 80-weight, and 100-weight in both top and bobbin threads. So it's really kind of nice when you're doing freestanding lace and you want your top and your bobbin to match, but you don't want to have to rewind your bobbins. So I get mine from Wonderfil, and their 100-weight thread is almost exactly the same as my 100-weight thread that I use for silk embroidery. Except it doesn't cost as much as my silk thread does because silk thread's like $15 a small spool, and this I can get 4 spools for the same price. So that's really kind of nice. I use 100-weight thread also for fine details. If you're trying to get a really fine outline on something or delicate shading, a nice thin thread such as 100-weight, 60-weight, 80-weight, anything higher than 40, is something that's going to be able to give you that finer details that are in there. Yes?
What size needle do you use for micro lettering?
When I'm doing micro lettering, I'm using my 7511. You can use a 6590, but you cannot use your needle threader. I'm lazy. I'm sorry, but if you use a 65 needle and use your automatic needle threader, you get to visit your dealer whether you wanted to or not. Okay, exactly. And ask me how I know that one. Yeah, so that was not good. That was a very bad mistake. If you want to do micro lettering and you do need to use really small, you can use a 6590 needle. There's nothing wrong with that. I get good results with my 7511, so I'm not knocking it.
And the thread will work with that.
It depends on your machine.
I have Viking.
But like I said, depends on your machine. It's I wouldn't, unless you want to try going it. If it doesn't work, you get to go to the dealer and get your needle threader fixed. So I would just hate for it to get stuck in there. Most of the machine companies, they have it in their manual, do not use your needle threader with anything smaller than a 70. So that's what happens. Now, one of the other reasons I change a needle to a larger size, like my 90, I'll go from a 75 to a 90, when I am doing in the hoop key fobs. You know, with the marine vinyl? And you're trying to go around the edge with your bean stitch around that and getting a nice fat bean stitch, a 90 needle will make a larger hole in the fabric. So even if you're only doing a triple bean stitch, it will look different with a size 90 needle because the hole's larger, which means the threads can get a little looser in there and they're not so tight. So sometimes when I'm doing my key fobs, I will switch out that last color, or I'll make sure my needle has a 90 in it, and it will do that triple stitch all the way around. Another thing that I like to do while I'm talking about marine vinyl and key fobs is I use variegated thread very often on my bean stitch. I think it gives a nice extra look, and a lot of times I have a lot of variegated thread. You know, and we always try to find a use for it. And satin stitch lettering usually is not the use for it. Unless you're going for that Beetlejuice look. You know, it's very stripy. Yes. But I will tell you that I was using Joe Rito? Superior Threads, their variegated thread. I'm not sure if they're doing sorry, I mentioned Jo Rita because she's the one that was just raving about it. Jo Rita is a digitizer on our Stitch Outdoors Digitizing fans page that does wonderful landscapes and pushes the envelope. And I happened to do a test sew showing the Superior Thread variegated, and I think they have 115 different variegated threads. So that's a lot of colors that are going there. And I had this one that was a peach, light green, and yellow. When I looked at the spool, it was peach, light green, and yellow. And when I stitched it out, however, the length between the color dyes was so uneven that it almost looked like heather. Even when I did the satin stitch going around, it was not that stripy peach, yellow, green, which is horrible. I can't stand that. It was actually blended. So I think I'm going to have to invest in that Superior Threads. You bought 10 already. Wow. I know the reason that they have so many different colors is because they really do cater to the quilters. And quilters love to have multicolors to match their quilts. So not only do they have a peach yellow green, they have a peach red green, they have a peach brown green, they have a yellow green brown. I mean, it's like 6 different green variegated as opposed to light green, dark green, light green, or 3 different shades of the same color. So it was just a, yes.
4 that are green, brown, yellow.
Uh-huh.
But they're all different shades.
I know.
Green, brown, yellow.
It's fabulous choice. I mean, it's eye candy. And it's just one more thing we have to invest in and find room for in our sewing room. God. Yeah, it's not mechanical. Okay, so what other types of needles maybe we want to use on our embroidery machine? They also have, recently I know Oregon came out with them, Schmetz has them. We have what was called a non-stick needle, okay? Non-stick is more of a universal needle. So again, I slow my machine down, but one of the features of the coating that's on it is that it's Teflon. We're not allowed to say it's Teflon because that's a trade name. So they call it non-stick, but it's just like our cookware. And what's beautiful about those is that one of the problems we have with our machines is heat, whether we know it or not. Whenever your needle comes down and goes through the fabric, it's rubbing against the fabric, it's rubbing against a stabilizer, that thread is rubbing against the hole. And do you know what happens when you start, rubbing your hands together? You get friction, you get all fat and swollen and sticky, right? This is what happens in Texas. Exactly, it's what happens in Texas. It's after hours. It is the truth, but that's what happens to your needle. And so, and what does heat do? It attracts anything that is sticky and anything that is dusty. So when your needle is getting all swollen and whatnot, oh God, oh Lord mercy. If you're stitching through anything that is adhesive, sticky stabilizer, spray glue, a marine vinyl that's sticky, what's happening? You're causing your thread to shred. You're causing problems to happen. And you have dust that's hanging out in your bobbin case. That's all getting attracted to this needle because it's just hot. So it attracts everything. And when you have more things that are being attracted to it, it wears out faster. So what they did was they created a non-stick needle so that everything kind of just slides right off, and it will last longer and allow you to stitch your marine vinyl without getting any of those gobbledygook things. Oregon carries one, as well as Schmetz. And just to let you guys know, here at the show, we do have 30% off all of our Schmetz needle that are left in our booth. Okay, few of you have been cleaning us out of our Schmetz needles, so just letting you know, whatever's left we have at 30% off in our booth. Where was I going? I had a thought in my head. Oh, yes. Oh, that didn't remind me, but yes. It was the vinyl. Mind that.
In different sizes, or are they all your size, 75, 11?
No, they're actually on a universal scale, so they go 70, 10, not 70, 10. Yeah. 70, 10, 80, 12, 90, 14. So when I'm using them on my marine vinyl, most of the time I'm going with a 90-14 because that's the one I want to make the bean stitch holes and make the stitching better, okay? Now, one thing that I got a couple questions on looking at the back sides of my key fobs, everyone, we all check out the back side of our embroidery, okay? No, it's not. But for an in the hoop design, it is. Okay, if you're worried about that very first stitch or getting the Nazi thing that's on the back of it, what you need to do is bring that bobbin thread to the top and hold both of those threads together. And then you start stitching. If you pull that bobbin thread to the top, it can't make that snot on the bottom. Right. Okay, it's snot. So you hit the start button, go a few stitches, stop your machine, trim it, and you'll look perfect on the back side. Yes?
Okay, so for the two commercial ladies.
Jane and Cindy.
Don't do it now because I'm not sticking my fingers anywhere underneath my needle.
Good job.
Can you still do that same thing, like just hit start, let it go, like you stitch and hit stop and pull it start?
There's no need to do that.
On yours. A commercial machine doesn't usually have that same snot problem. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's, a commercial machine or a tubular embroidery machine like the single needles that they have, it has a completely different bobbin mechanism than our flatbed machines. Our flatbed machines are rather finicky, okay? If you don't clean out that bobbin case after every project, bad things happen. And most of it's bad words, and all the animals leave your sewing room, okay? That's just what happens.
Mom's upset, exit stage.
Exactly. Yes? use your hand crank. So just one. Yep, and just hold it. So it's just that that's what the wheel is right there. Yes.
Another thing, going back to your needles, Schmetz has an app.
Oh, yes.
You were gonna tell them about that.
I forgot. That was a long time ago. For those of you that are curious about different types of needles, Schmetz has a free needle app that's available for all phones that you can get, so that it not only describes troubleshooting, but different types of needles for different types of fabrics. It has information on the sizes that you have. So you get this from Google Play or from the Apple iStore. Or you go to schmetzneedles.com and you can download it. It has all the information about this stuff. So it was kind of funny. When they first came out with the app, I was the one on part of the beta team that did it, which is why it's bad that I didn't even mention this app. No, I really forgot. Sorry, there's no excuse for me. But I'm in the store, and it was right around school was starting, and I'm in the Hobby Lobby, and I'm walking around looking at the needles, and I'm kind of comparing what the app said just to see it there. And this little kid is getting ready for, it was a 4-H project, and she did not want to have anything to do with this thing. Sewing was not fun until she saw I had an app on my phone that talked about needles. So she took mom's phone, and you know how kids are on that phone, immediately had the app on her phone, and she went through the whole sewing store finding samples of every type of fabric that would need a different needle. And she was going to go home and practice because the app said this is the needle for this fabric, and she wants to see why that. I mean, knock your socks off, kid. If she got excited about sewing, that's good. We like that. Yes. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah. Between needles and pins, the heads of pins. Yes, they spin with a little glass head on them, but the needles, oh, it's absolutely fabulous. I mean, wow. It's a ridiculously a long amount of time, a batch of needles. Yeah, it's not a, well, we're talking, we're talking Schmetz needles. We're not talking the ones that are no name brand, okay? So when they first introduced the non-stick needle, the main guys at the company didn't think that it would be very popular. So they completely sold out of all of them, like ridiculously soon. So Rhonda Pierce, who is the woman that works for Schmetz Needles, she's like, well, come on guys, we need to get more needles. And it took like almost 6 months just for them to get the production ramped up into getting it. So this is not a fast process that gets them done. Okay. Wow, are we like running, what time are we?
All night.
All night. Bars open, yeah. Oh, what's that? You are joking. Oh. Don't I have a class tomorrow? Yes, do you have a question?
We have a room full of experienced embroiderers in here. I'm curious, because I don't have so new to it, any hacks that maybe not everybody knows.
Stop now.
Anything other than that, I'm already into.
Okay.
What was hacks?
Yeah, like hacks that, I mean, she's always giving me little things, you know, do this or do that. I'm like, what is that? I have a first hack.
I'm afraid to hear your hack, Mandy.
Do not be afraid to buy what you want. Somebody tells you it's not worth it. Here's your negative.
If you can afford the $10,000 machine, buy the $10,000 machine. Don't talk yourself down. If you can afford the $5 needle, buy the $5 needle. Don't talk yourself down. Always buy the best that you can afford in anything you're doing with sewing.
Yep.
Or less.
so we have it scheduled to 8:30 if you want to get the prize. And
Well,
Stay here all
we'll
night.
wrap out with this then. Okay. Okay, we aren't hearing what you're saying, Jane. We're not hearing what you're saying. Uh-huh. Yes, probably one of the best things that you can do is try networking in your area. You know, that's, when you come to this, how many people met someone new here tonight or this whole time? I mean, and I bet you talked about machine embroidery. And I bet you talked about things that you really like doing. I mean, these are how you're going to this is how we grow as a community. And that's what's so fabulous about this machine embroidery community is that we are not afraid to share our information with each other. I mean, the knowledge that we have and that you said your friend just gives you these hacks all the time, that's fabulous. We're going to be winding this guy up in a bit, but my best advice that I can give you is that push the damn button. Okay? Okay, we're going to draw our door prize here.
First, cheers to Lisa Shaw.
Oh, good. Thank you. I got to have a hug. We survived. This was yeah, this was great. I'm glad you guys all came out and chatted about machine embroidery with me. Listen to me.
We love it.
Yes, this was great. Okay, so for this grand prize, Kai Scissors, it is number, oh God, 6504.
Oh my God.
Grandma wine. Merry Christmas. We're still working on don't
Wow, fabulous. Oh, that's adorable.
You won.
Yeah.
Just give them to him for Christmas.
We went to a cooking show one time,
Yeah.
and it was drawn. My son won a gas oven, and he loves to cook.
Oh, wow.
And he wasn't but in the 5th grade, and he said, Dad said, well, how was the cooking show with Mom? I won an oven.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out with me today. Enjoy. There's still one more day of classes. Have a great weekend.